what do I really want for myself?
Because you brought things to the table that I never thought that I could get out of a relationship.
We keep it real over here.
Yeah. What do you believe the purpose of marriage is? Welcome to Pillow Talk, ladies and gentlemen.
With the
Winstons. Hey.
Welcome to Pillow Talk, episode 5, keeping your relationship lit. And this is Pillow Talk with the Winstons. Had to do that.
I love that. That was cute.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I know we are on episode 5, and this is going to be an interesting and exciting episode and topic. And I'm ready to dive in. I'm looking forward to this one. This was good.
Me too. Number 5, another one.
So yeah, episode 5, guys, we're going to be talking about keeping the relationship lit. Lit, pun intended, meaning the fire, the spark, keeping it lit. But before we get into that, we've got to make sure I do my AKA. So ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to make sure coming to the stage, I have to introduce my host, the love of my life, my soulmate, my best friend, Misfit, AKA Miss Sexy, AKA my boo, AKA Misfit Wins, AKA Delana Winston, AKA my co-host for life. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
I love that.
I have to switch it up every week because I can't keep coming up with more AKAs because, yeah.
Me either. Y'all, give it up for my co-host, my boo, my bae, my husband, my twin flame, my Gemini love.
I love it.
Because we're so Gemini.
Yes, we are.
You are so Gemini.
Oh, you are too?
There's like 20 people inside of you.
Did not want to know what's inside of you. Just saying.
And I love almost all of them. Almost.
Yeah, on a good day. You, but you embrace them all. So I think we both have our goods, our bad, but like you said last episode, it's not going to outweigh the ratio. So
that's right, 5-1.
5-1. So
5 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction.
Absolutely,
that's what we strive for.
And listen, now I feel like we do a good job, and we are doing a good job. So before we jump into today's episode of keeping the relationship lit, we have Misfits Fact Check.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay, so we're talking about keeping the relationship lit. How do we keep that spark? Because in the beginning, everything is just like, we're on fire for each other.
That's true.
Yeah. So then it kind of dies out. So my research says that nearly 4 out of 10 people believe that the spark can start to fade simply because both parties start to take each other for granted. You start getting comfortable. True. You start seeing your boo every day and you're just like, okay. The feelings start to change.
Yeah.
So that's 4 out of 10 people.
Wow. So what is that? Like 30% or? Yeah, almost. No, that's almost half.
Yeah, that's close to half.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so 40%.
Wow.
Yeah, and so another 31% say that the daily routine of life, like the everyday mundane routine, starts to chip away at the romance in the relationship. So over half of the nation admits to sometimes feeling bored with their partner.
Wow. I don't never want to get to that point.
That's not good.
No, it's not. Yeah,
right?
I don't ever want to get to that point.
So that's why we wanted to talk about, what are some things that we do that whoever is listening today, that you're in a relationship or you are, you strive to be in a relationship, that you kind of want to keep it spicy, keep the spark, keep it interesting and not get bored. So that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I love this topic because, we always use the word being intentional. And I truly believe that this particular topic takes a lot of being intentional and being, paying attention to your spouse and making sure that you are just being aware. So, yeah.
Self-awareness.
So
being intentional, self-awareness.
Yeah.
And doing the work.
Yeah. And that word that statement has been used a lot, especially with COVID and it's so much going on. And, it's true. Doing the work is a true testament of just like getting better.
I like that.
And I can honestly say that that's something that I have embarked on that journey of doing right now. I'm doing some work personally. And, through my therapy, I'm learning so much about myself. And, doing the work is important. So,
right. I agree. Yeah.
So what do you?
So let's dig in.
Yeah. What were some of the things that created a spark for us in the beginning? Like, what do you?
Well, can we first talk about like our first? Well, not our first date, but
it was
after
our
you
first
initially
real...
asked me out and we went on a date, because I feel like there was a spark initially when you asked me out and I finally said yes.
True. Took forever.
And so we went out for drinks because you were like, well, let's go to a movie. And I was like, nah, I don't really want to do a movie. Yeah. Because I feel like you can't really interact with the person.
It was like, it was just my
there.
it was my Hail Mary. I was like, she got to say yes to something. So,
yeah. So I was like, no, let's go hang out. Let's just grab a drink and let's talk.
Yeah.
Because I just got to get a feel for you. I'm an energy person. So I gotta read you.
Yes, you did. And you almost stood me up on that one, but
I didn't. I came, and thank God I did.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
That is true. That is so true.
But just going back to our first date, because I just felt like there was a connection initially. Mm-hmm. Like in our communication and just like how the way that we talked and, just like understood each other from day one was important.
And I think also you in that communication, you were very open to my transparency of coming out of a marriage, coming out of divorce, and having 2 kids, and it was a lot. So I had to I was unpacking a lot in the beginning, and you were very receptive.
Well, I will say this: you were very open. So I kind of, I knew the story, I knew the background, I knew the history. I knew there was like some baggage involved, but I'm not going to lie. I was like, I'm just going out here and see what he has to say and get this drink. Well, and hang out.
True.
And hang out. Because you had been asking. So I was like, okay. And I had actually been out with some coworkers. So before I met up with you, like I was hanging out. And so I was like, yeah.
Yeah. You just wanted more drinks. It's okay. You wanted more drinks. It's fine. It turned into more.
Well, it wasn't just that, but so yeah, I was like, I'm gonna hear you out, but I don't think that at that point, like I was looking to have anything serious.
Yeah, and you didn't buy in immediately, but you gave me a great indication. And since we're talking about that spark, I believe what created the spark for me is when you got home and you texted me and said, "You're all right with me, Mr. Winston?" And
I did.
That was very. I think for me, that was like, it made me feel confident. It made me feel good to be able to go into go further instead of feeling so apprehensive. So,
yeah, but from day one. So I love our communication.
Yeah.
I love your transparency. It was easy to talk to you. And then when I found out you was a Gemini, I was like,
that was... That kind of helped seal the deal right there. I was like, oh, she's a Gemini? What?
Yeah, and I just kind of felt like he gets me, like he understands me.
And I still do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even when we are misunderstood to each other, we still have a way to come back and communicate. So
yeah, but so that was the first date. But let's talk about when we went on the hike, like our next date.
Yeah, that was The hike
The
was
hike at Crowder's Mountain in December.
January.
Oh,
It was-
January.
it was
Yeah,
January.
that's right. It was early January. So it was cold,
Cold.
and he had the bright idea to go. Well, I had never been to Crowder's Mountain, so I was like, "Oh my God, I've been talking about going to Crowder's Mountain. I would really love to go." He was like, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
So I checked the weather, and it's like a 100% chance of rain. So I'm like, it's gonna be raining, right?
And I was like, I'm thinking about the adventure because as a Gemini, I thought this was a perfect opportunity to go on an adventure together and do something. Just, I had no idea what we were in store for. So go ahead and
No
finish
clue.
the story.
No clue. No clue. But the fact that you are so spontaneous, I think that kind of set the tone for our relationship.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that has kept the spark in our relationship, like from day one, that I just like really love.
I think it brings a smile on your face when I do certain things that you're like, wait a minute, we're going to go to Mexico tomorrow? So I got to get my hair done. I got to pack a bag. I got to do this. Yeah. Oh my God, it's a lot. But then when I see the look on your face when you get on that beach,
yeah,
and you're there or you're on the plane, you're like, oh my God, we're going.
Right.
It's worth it for me.
It's totally worth it.
And the cool thing is you don't like the things. You rather have experiences.
I like the experiences, and I think you get that.
Yep.
And so that's another part. So I think it's number one, it's like the spontaneity, keeping your relationship fun.
Yep.
Because a lot of times when we get so used to the day-to-day routine stuff,
Yeah.
we never switch it up. And so it gets boring.
Yeah, that's true. And it's harder for people, granted, we don't have the unfortunate, I wouldn't even call it unfortunate. We don't have that luxury of being those people that have to go to an office every day. Not saying that it won't change in the future, but we don't have to be in an office or have this mundane routine. So we get to kind of create and be creative and do different things with content and do a podcast and in the middle of a day. So I think that's also a thing that just kind of keeps the spark just kind of flowing, because a flame has to have enough airflow. If I'm using a great analogy from cooking, the airflow in a flame has to stay lit. It keeps the flame lit when it has the correct amount of airflow. So in a relationship, airflow is communication. And when you stop the airflow, when you're cooking, like on a grill, it keeps the flame, it makes the flame go down.
The flame doesn't rise.
Yeah. So then eventually the flame just goes out
dies
because you haven't added nothing new to it. You haven't took care of it. You gotta add some air to it. You gotta blow on it. You gotta
Right. You
spend
just
some
can't
time.
light that bad boy and then walk away.
No. Because either one thing is gonna happen. You light it and walk away. It's gonna blow up. It's gonna get too hot, or it's going to just go out. So you want it to be in between. So I think that's a beautiful thing about our marriage that I love, that we're able to keep a good balance. So
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that you definitely bring to the table. Just saying, babe, in the middle of the week, hey, let's do a date night.
Yeah. Right. And we used to just have a certain day, but then sometimes I might have to cook. Sometimes you might have to do other things with content.
It doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes also because I know for some people, especially who have like busy schedules and children, you have to plan a little bit more. But sometimes that kind of gets old and it gets boring too. When you plan everything and you just know what to expect, it's just like, okay, I know we're doing date night on Friday.
and when you start planning that type of stuff, you start planning like how sex is gonna go, like, oh, he wants to do this or she wants to do that, and then that just becomes boring.
Becomes boring.
Because if you know what your partner's gonna do when they lay down and you guys are getting intimate, that just becomes
you already
like,
know the position. You already know how long it's gonna be. You're
like, all right, cool. I can watch my show at 8:35. He'll be done by the end.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, we don't. Nah, we ain't about that life.
Yeah, be spontaneous. Like switch it up.
Yeah,
every
that's the
now and
word.
again. You might not, your schedule may not always allow you to.
That is true.
But if you can, and for ladies, if your husband, comes and say, "Hey, babe, let's do something. Like, let's do something tonight." Be open to it.
Yeah, that's one thing I can say about you. You don't shoot down a lot of stuff unless it interrupts either timing, budget, which we try to stay on as much as possible, or if it's just not, if it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
if it
because
interrupts
we can't.
any of those,
we can't go out every night. I mean, we can't have dinner every night. I would love to. Well, no, actually, I wouldn't. You would love to do that.
Yes. She would rather me cook every night than have another restaurant. So, I mean, I actually love that about it. The fact that I enjoy cooking for you, because that's another thing that I do to keep the spark.
It is.
I'll make your favorite dish. Like, it changes from every now and then. Like, from the beginning of the relationship, it was one thing. And that's the other thing. You have to know when your partner changes. Like, you don't like pasta as much as you did in the beginning because of the cream and it's too much and the butter. So now I do things that are more healthy because you have different goals than what you had in the beginning. So, well,
and that's why it's also important that you are in tune to what your partner needs. Like,
that is true.
And you're not checked out.
Yeah.
Like, you understand them. You know how to read them. You guys have good communication, because once that starts falling off, especially when you get stuck in a routine, then the fire it's gonna die out. Yeah,
and eventually your routine will change. Your partner changes jobs, gets new opportunities. Things might traveling. You just have to be prepared. So if the foundation is there, then you're able to create a great spark. So how do people, like, in relationships, create a spark? Like, how do you create a spark, like, outside of marriage? Like, if you're looking to get married and you're with a fiance, or you're with your girlfriend or boyfriend, how does one create a spark? We talked about how we can create a spark, but how do you? What is your perspective on how do you feel like that spark can be created in a relationship?
Well, I think it starts with communication and communicating what it is that you like, what you enjoy.
True.
Even like your love language.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, because like for me, it's acts of service.
Yeah.
So if you don't communicate that to your partner or someone that you're dating, your person, they can't read your mind.
Yeah, and they can't accommodate something that has not been communicated that they needed. Like,
Yeah. And I think sometimes we expect people or our partners to read our minds, right?
True. Expectations.
Yeah, you putting like expectations on someone that are not realistic. Your partner cannot read your mind.
Just because they're around you doesn't mean they know you.
Right.
That's real.
So, open up the dialogue and the lines of communication, and have those conversations.
Yeah.
Definitely have those conversations about what it is that you expect in a relationship, what you like, what you enjoy.
Yeah.
So that they know.
And also tend to their needs. Their wants are great, but their needs are more important. Like, I know you need a certain amount of time that you are able to spend with yourself, where you have the ability to feel more at peace. And it's not a long period of time. It's just, I need this.
It's my self-care.
That's your self-care.
Absolutely.
For me, I need more connection from time to time, or as you would say, more than others.
Just more than me. Like,
It's
just more than me, and that's okay.
And it's okay. But that's what I need. So the connection helps me feel like the spark is still there, and it allows me to feel like I'm heard, I'm loved. So I think everything does go back to what you just said. The connection starts with the communication. Communication is literally like the baseline reason for everything when it comes to having a spark. Because if you don't know this person, or if that person doesn't communicate what they need, you're kind of just in the dark. So
yeah, that's very true. And then, so you can't expect your partner to do the things that you would want them. Well, let me rephrase that. So you have a love language, right? But your
Yeah.
partner's love language is different. So when you are, reciprocating whatever it is that they need, you can't base it on what you want.
That's
It's what
true.
they want
That's
and
so
what
true.
they need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like mine might be acts of service,
Right.
my love language. Yours may be,
Connecting. What is the word
I
for
think yours
connecting?
is words of affirmation.
Yeah, words of affirmation. Words of affirmation and physical touch.
Yeah, and physical touch.
Yeah.
So I have to honor that and I have to respect that and not be like, well, I don't understand why I don't like holding hands, so I'm not going to hold your hand.
Right.
Or I'm not going to rub your back, or I'm not going to show affection in front of people.
Do you
Because that's
remember
not
in
my
the
thing.
beginning you told me you didn't really like to kiss that
I
much?
did.
And and now that's like something we do on a daily basis.
And
Whether
I
our
don't.
sons are around, whether it doesn't matter. If you just saying bye, hi, I'll see you later, drive safe. That's one thing that I feel like we are both intentional about doing. Sometimes we get in our own little world and we need to just go. But for the most part, we are very intentional about saying, I love you, drive safe, see you later. Yeah, so that makes
And
me
those are
feel
the
good.
little things
It
that
is.
keep the spark going too.
It's very small, but it's like it goes such a long way.
It goes a long way. It's
Yeah.
it's always the little things.
Yep.
And the way that you bring me flowers, like just on a random day and be like, here you go, babe. And just recently you started just bringing flowers for
The
the house. Like, I know you love flowers, so
And
here you go.
and so, because I read something about how flowers create a level of energy in a home, and it's extremely important to my wife about energy. So for me, I want to make sure that I replenish like the vases in the house with flowers that are like fresh and colorful. So, I knew the season is about to change. So I was like, let me get some different colors. And it's not always the same thing. So
Meanwhile, we got 5,000 vases.
yeah.
And I said, baby, can you just start
Taking the vase with me?
vases that we already have? Because I'm running out of space to put
Yeah,
these.
I know. But that's my intentional move to let you know, like, hey, I see you, I respect you, I love you, and I want you to feel that when you come in this house, it's not just my home. It's not just
It's not just your home.
I mean, it's ours. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you to feel like when you come into, because sometimes people get in a relationship and the man will make the home more for what he likes, like certain types of TVs and lights and this and that.
And you do that. But I feel like I have, this is totally sidebar, but I feel like I have like my space to like do my decor
Yeah,
and, like
And
I
I've
take ownership of like the decor and just like
exactly.
the colors and things like that.
Yeah, because I feel like that's you making it a home. That's your contribution to the home. When I come in, I feel like, oh man, I just want to go to sleep.
Like it
I want to
feels
lay
like
down.
home.
Feels like home. Yeah. So I think that was important. So that's the reason why I do flowers, because I want that energy of life. That's what it was. I think the person said life with flowers in your home. It just brings peace. So fellas,
So do
take
you
that
feel,
note.
yeah, take notes, guys. If you're listening, go, when you get off work, go to the store, grab some flowers for your wife, your girlfriend, bae, whoever, whatever.
And put them in the house somewhere.
Yeah. And watch her light up.
Yeah.
Just because, like, watch her face just light up.
And they don't have to always be roses. It could just be flowers that make the home just, it's just something about it.
Yeah, because I
can't
told you, I was
explain
like,
it.
I mean, I like roses, but I'm like, lilies are my favorite because when I was little, my grandma used to like, she loved lilies. She would plant lilies in her yard and I would go out in the yard and help her. So I've always loved lilies. I love the smell of them. But anyway, so sometimes you'll do lilies, but sometimes you'll change it up.
Yeah, sometimes it's assortment.
Yeah.
And, now that they'll be coming in season, we'll see more lilies. So, yeah. Because you're like a little lily. You it takes a minute for you to blossom, but once you do, you open up. So
I love that.
thank God for the lilies.
So I'm wondering and I'm curious. So let the people know. Is it easy for you to do those things? Like, do you feel like it takes a lot of effort? to kind of love me in my love language, or like what is the motivation? Like what drives you? What, you know?
So for me, it's a ratio, like we kind of talked about a couple episodes ago, where you do so much for me, for my love language. So for example, you'll listen to my issues, or you'll be there for me.
I listen.
Yeah, you listen, you give advice, and you also listen. But you listen, like that's a huge love language. Or let me vent, or let me just feel like I can come to you about something. So I feel like if that happens enough, for me, it takes nothing for me to just go and get flowers, or to give you a massage, or to just say, hey, babe, you look good. Let me rub your feet. Let me rub your back, whatever. You know, let's watch a movie, or whatever that could be. And I think that's, for me, it's not hard. It's really not hard. And if we have any issues, I don't let that play into it for too long, because I can't stay mad at you for longer than like, a couple hours.
You can't.
So,
I have to agree with that.
I can't do a
an
day
hour
or
later,
two.
you'd be like, can we talk? And I'd be like, I don't really want to talk about this right now. Like, I'm mad.
Right.
I don't want to talk about it.
You could be mad for a day if you wanted to. Like, if I let you, you could be mad for a day.
Yeah.
But I think after you wake up from that day, you're kind of like, I'm not going to hold on to the same energy.
Right.
So thank
That's
God
true.
for that.
I know.
Because that could be very detrimental, because I couldn't handle something that's like someone that holds on for a long period of time. That would just make me just nerve-wracking. It's anxiety.
Well, it's something that I've had to work on, honestly, because I have a bad habit of like holding on to grudges.
Yeah.
And so, the Lord is still working with
Let
me
him
on
use
that.
you.
Yeah.
Let him use.
He's still working with me. I'm a work in progress.
Yeah, so for me, that it's not hard to love you at your love language, to answer your question.
That's so sweet. And I feel like it makes it easier for me to love you in your love language, although, me knowing that that's not what I want, but
True.
to give you what it is that you want and what you need, so you can feel validated, so you can feel loved, so you can feel, heard, seen, all that good stuff.
And I think the patience that you meet me with at my love language is like a crossroad. You're like, because you did this, not because it's a tick for tat. It's like, because I did this, you now have enough peace and patience to meet me in the middle and be like, you don't say it out loud, but you're like, in the back of your head, you're probably like, you know what, he did that, so I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's dope about being able to keep a spark and keep doing things that allow you and your partner to have something that's long lasting.
Yeah.
So
yeah, to not let the flame go out.
right, because what happens when the flame dies out?
Whew.
And how do you get it back? That's the question of the day right now. Like, what do you do when the flame dies?
Well, for one, I think that's why you have to be intentional, because it's easier to keep it going, right?
Yeah, true.
Than to let it go out, and then you have to
Get it back.
get it back going again.
Yeah, because once you go so far left, and I'm speaking about you personally.
Me personally?
Yeah, like I don't think if you went so far left and it was like gone so far, your personality is not the type of person that's going to be the one to bring it back to the middle. It's going to take a lot of work.
You don't think so?
I think you will be open-minded to it with the right person, me. But if it's so far gone, like, for example, if somebody, I'm trying to use the word somebody, like, but I'm married to
how
you.
about you?
Yes. So if I was cheating, like,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
can say
I'm
hell
not
no.
coming back from that.
Yeah, it's just certain things you can't come
I'm just
back
not
from.
coming back from that.
It's like that fire that you left out the door with, you could keep that. Let that bitch get the fire.
Yeah, give it all to her.
But I just
Let her
have to
have
use
it.
that as an example of that's how extreme of once you're gone, you're gone.
Well, yeah, but let's just talk about from a standpoint of like when you fall into a routine and you stop
In a
doing, because
routine.
that's extreme.
Okay, I just had
Like,
to give an
that is-
extreme example.
That is like, yeah.
Those are
that's
deal
just like,
breakers.
we
Those are
ain't
deal
even-
breakers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like when you stop doing the things like when you, because it's easy to do them, you know, in the beginning,
Yeah.
you know, but what about like when it's, and you know, we're just 4 years in
Yeah.
this relationship, but like what about when it gets, when you get really comfortable or when you're just like,
Yeah, I mean, when you just come home, I'll use this for an example. Any man who has done this, you know what I'm talking about. In any situation, if a man comes home and he sits in the driveway for 10 to 15 minutes and then he pulls back out, the fire's gone.
That's
I'm
terrible.
just saying, it's happened. I'm not going to
wait, it's happened. You pulled up in the driveway at
not
home?
not with you, but I've definitely done that before. You know, it's even worse when
I'm sorry. But I mean,
no, I'm being
so
honest.
where do you leave and go? Like you just need to take a ride and be like,
So there
Let me
was
just-
one time I literally was in the driveway and it really messed me up because I sat there for about 10 minutes and Asher or Asa seen me. And they was in the window like, Daddy, Daddy. And I pulled out and went to the store.
no, no.
So that's an example of what I'm trying to say. That is a more moderate example of what it looks like when.
So you don't even want to pull up and go in the house.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if there's a man listening to this episode, this is Pillow Talk with the Winstons, episode 5, keeping the relationship lit. If you're hearing my voice right now and you can attest to pulling up in the driveway and not wanting to go in the house, trust me, just shoot me a DM on All We Do Is Winston on Instagram because it's the truth. Most men will never admit to this. It's the truth. And I think that's.
Well, I feel like women have those moments too. Y'all are not
absolutely.
the only ones who pull up and be like, "Oh God."
Yeah.
Especially when you got to come home and you just like, I just left work. I got to come here and cook. Come here and see about these kids
And then attend to you.
and attend to you on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have to really put on a whole different mask when you come home because women have a way of just blocking everything out and still being present. Men act out. So I think,
That would be true.
when that spark is gone and it dies out, it affects everyone in the home is pretty much what I wanted to kind of say. It affects everybody. So the man sets the tone, especially the man. You set the tone. If your energy's off, everything else is off. I know they say happy wife, happy life, but an angry man, the house is on fire.
Well, I guess that's why it's you guys' job to keep us happy because in turn, we will. I mean, it just trickles down.
True.
From us to the kids to like our interactions, and I feel like when, you know, sometimes when you don't have the spark or you know you don't feel happy within the relationship, then you don't feel happy about things outside of the relationship too.
That's true. Because it affects everyone.
Yeah. So when you go to work, you got an attitude.
Yep. Yeah. And that's
You yelling at the kids.
That's so true. Yeah, because some people don't know how to channel what the true cause of the issue is. There's a whole nother feeling that they're feeling, and they don't know how to unpack that. So
Yeah. And that goes back to our last episode too.
true.
You
Balance.
know, when you don't get the balance or the things that you need for self.
That's true. Yeah, because if you're feeding whatever you feed will grow. So if you feed one thing with negative, eventually, you know, that negative flower will become a bigger one in a tree.
A whole tree.
A whole tree.
A whole tree will grow out the flower.
It was crazy. How do you uproot that? Like, how do you get the spark back?
Yeah, because that's what we're talking
Now
about.
that you have rooted something that has been like routine, like you said, you have
Definitely
done.
harder.
Yeah, and
It's definitely harder.
I honestly can't answer that. I don't know things to get the spark back. I just know how to just be consistent to not lose it. Like
I mean, that's the best thing that you can do because once it's gone, like it's just so much harder. Then you got to do things like, you know, well, for some people, they already have therapy.
true.
So that doesn't happen. You know,
Yeah.
that's another thing that we do. We have monthly maintenance with our therapist so we can kind
Yeah.
of keep things in order, on track,
Balance.
be accountable, have balance,
Yeah.
communicate what our needs are.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing that, then you might have to have emergency therapy.
Yeah.
And sometimes at that point, like, it's too late.
It's too far gone.
It's too far gone.
Yeah. Because some people think when you go to therapy immediately, it gets better immediately. And I'm here to tell you the truth. And I'm not trying to scare anybody from doing it, but therapy just opens up the wound and makes you have to do the work more because it brings everything to light.
It does.
Yeah. So getting that spark back, the number one way is to not lose it. That's what I would say.
I love that.
Just don't lose it. So,
like, be intentional. Don't take your partner for granted.
thank you.
Like, do the work. Sometimes you got to put yourself before them and their feelings, but it definitely should be a balance. It shouldn't be a situation where you're always putting them before you, but
That's true.
just do the work, because it's worth it. What you put in is what you get out.
Absolutely. And you can't expect something to get better if you're only putting in negativity. So
That's very true.
yeah, so I love this.
that.
This was good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Keeping that
Spark.
Yeah. So keep
Why
being.
you keep looking at me like that?
How do I keep looking at you?
Like you just want to keep that spark.
I do want to keep that spark.
Okay.
And that's funny because that reminds me of when we had our first date, like that we talked about when we had drinks. And you were trying to tell me that I would look down
And look at
and
me
look
with
up. And
your
I was
eyes.
like, no, I wasn't.
Listen, you just had this look, and I was just like, man, if this girl don't stop looking at me like this, I'm
Listen, he had his drink with his straw, and he kept
missed
missing
it.
the straw. He was like,
because she would look
kept
down
missing the straw.
and look at me with her eyes. I'd be like, hey, man, let me get up out of here. And that was after like 3-4 drinks too. So I was like, yo, this is really.
Yeah, because I was like, no, that's not what's happening here.
Yeah.
You cool. I like you. You know, you're a Gemini and all.
Yeah.
But
But before, so if you've been listening, before we leave this episode of keeping our relationship lit, or keeping your relationship lit, or keeping the relationship lit, we talked about things that created the spark in the beginning for us, what keeps the relationship lit from my perspective, from my wife's perspective. And then we also talked about how to create the spark in a relationship. And then most importantly, what happens when you lose the spark and how to get it back.
yeah,
So that's our recap.
don't lose it.
Don't lose
That
it.
is our advice to you. Don't lose the spark. Do the work. Go out on your dates.
Yes.
Take trips. Be spontaneous.
Yes.
Understand your partner's love language.
All day.
All that.
And talk to them.
And communicate.
Yeah,
If
be
it's something-
okay.
Yeah, be okay. If it's something that you're not getting, then communicate that.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we are mastering, not
Mm-hmm.
mastered, mastering as the days are getting, as years and months, because time is
It's
flying.
a daily journey. And sometimes it changes too.
That's true.
Right? So what you may have
Done
wanted
before.
in the beginning or did in the beginning, there may be a shift to where it's just like, okay, we got to change it up now.
Yeah.
So.
And that's okay. Be open to the change and embrace it. So before we end this episode, we got to have Winspirations. And the Winspiration is going to be done by yours truly, Miss Delana Winston.
Yeah.
So what do we have today?
So, guys, the bottom line is when it comes to relationships, you have to create what you want, not wait for it to happen for you and your partner. Put in the work. After all, if what you want is a more romantic relationship, guess what? Make it happen for yourself. Bring home flowers. Compliment your partner. Start to make it a habit for them to do the same thing for you. You get to create what you want to have your relationship lit. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. Hey guys, it's Kev
And Delana
with Pillow Talk with the Winstons.
So, guys, we just wanted to take a moment to personally thank each and every person that has reached out to us, that has supported us, that has liked our page, that has sent messages saying how much this podcast has impacted them. So thank you from us both.
Thank you. So we just want to make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that is such a great way to say thank you, and we appreciate your support. So if you support us,
so much for your support, you guys.
Absolutely.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us if you want to connect with us. We're on Instagram at All We Do Is Winston.
yes, indeed.
And let us know if there's any topics that you guys want to hear. Shoot us a message. Let us know.
And we appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
All right, love y'all.
Love you.
What do I really want for myself?
Because you brought things to the table that I never thought that I could get out of a relationship.
We keep it real over here.
Yeah. What do you believe the purpose of marriage is? Welcome to Pillow Talk, ladies and gentlemen.
With the
Winstons. Hey.